What is it? No, I gotta feed my groundhog. Feed my groundhog. Yeah. They're getting ready to go take their nap in another 2 weeks. I'll have a groundhog called February 2nd. Tell me if it's coming. That gecko up my arm. How many people you don't got trained groundhogs? They won't leave my yard.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll want some later probably. Welcome. Before we call the meeting to order, we'll have a prayer by Councilwoman Ward followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for gathering us here safely this evening. May we have the wisdom to govern amidst conflicting interests and issues of our time. May every decision we make, every phone call we answer, and every email we respond to be done with generosity in our hearts. In all we do and all we say, may we seek the welfare of everyone we meet and serve. Remind us that in the welfare of our city, we find our own welfare. At this time, let us take a moment of silence for both the hurricane and Las Vegas mass shooting victims, their families, and all the first responders. Bless them and may them find some peace in all this sorrow and madness. In your name we pray.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that remembrance in your prayer, Councilwoman Ward. At this time, I would like to call to order the Monday, October 2nd, 2017 City Council meeting. Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Fitzwater. Here. Graham.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Hussey.
Here.
Kemna.
Here.
Mahalovich. Prather.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Ward. Here. Wiseman.
Here.
Item 3, I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And at this time, I'd like to recognize we are happy to see so many scouts in the audience this evening. So, and Mr. James Clare, if you would like to come forward with all of the scouts this evening, and they can come to the podium and introduce themselves and what school everybody's from and maybe what they're working on. So welcome if you all would like to come up. We always enjoy seeing scouts, and it's great to see such a big group here. Welcome, James.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Turgan, and members of the council. Good to see you all today. I'm going to let each of the scouts come up here in a moment, and I also want to recognize Tom Neild, who is the troop master for our Troop 10. We have our meetings at Grace Episcopal Church here in Jefferson City, and with that, I'm going to let Hayden start, and each of them can introduce themselves and whatever other information you ask them to provide. So,
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hayden Rowden. I am attending Jefferson City School High School. I'm working on citizenship to the community, and I will be happy to attend this meeting. Thank you.
Thank Thank you.
Hi, I'm Parker Rowden, and I go to Simonson Ninth Grade Center, and I'm working on communications. Thank
Great.
you. Hi, I'm Ethan Chenault, and I go to Simonson Ninth Grade Center, and I'm working on citizenship in the community and communications.
Great.
Hi, I'm Carson Harper, and I go to TJ, 6th through 7th grade, and I'm working on communications.
Great.
Hi, I'm Ryan Carr. I go to St. Peter's, and I'm working on communications.
Hi, my name is Braden Voss. I go to Thomas Jefferson Middle School, and I am working on citizenship.
Hi, my name's Carter Epima. I go to Lewis and Clark Middle School, and I'm working on communications.
Hello, I am Andrew Neild, and I'm working on communications. This is my last requirement, and I go to Simonson Ninth Grade Center.
Great. Well, we're so glad to have all of you here. Welcome, and thank you for observing our city council meeting. And just so you know, you can also watch it live anytime you want, and also see yourself on the city council meeting at on our website, jeffersoncitymo.gov. So hope you and your families tune in, and thanks for being part of this. Thank you. Item 4, miscellaneous agenda items. The first item is we have a recognition from for Boys and Girls Club. We just wanted to take this moment to recognize United Healthcare and Boys and Girls Club, and we should have Shauna Blanche, Director of Elementary Programs here. Welcome. So wanted to take a moment to recognize Boys and Girls Club. I know that United Healthcare was nice enough to donate some Nerf items, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, that event was extremely exciting. I know Stephanie Johnson told the kiddos that we would have those bands ready. That wasn't so much true. It's very hard to charge all bands with only 2 computers, charging them at the time. So right now we're waiting on our tablets to come in. They'll be shipped in on the 16th, so that'll start immediately on the 17th. We were able to give out the Nerf balls, so the kids have had to blast with those balls. We've created all kind of activities and games with those balls, so we're very appreciative, and we just can't wait to really get it started. They're really excited to get into the tech side of it, more so being active, but they can't wait to get on those tablets and actually try it out, gaining their points and seeing what all they can buy within the shop. So we're excited.
Well, that is great, and what United Healthcare donated was 150 Hasbro Nerf Energy game kits to Boys and Girls Club. So 150 of them. So like
Yes.
all the students and all the kids can actually have them, and they put on this wristband, and it's almost like it can sense their movement. So it's very like virtual video game, but it's actually with action and movement, which is just fantastic.
Correct. So they don't know what's going on while they have it on their wrist, but the moment they get to plug it in and actually pull up their points and everything that they can access, that's what they're really excited for. So they really want to wear the watches, but they really want to get on that tablet and access those points and see what all is possible from there. So we're
That's
excited.
great. It's almost like rewarding them for activity and being active.
And they don't know that yet.
They don't know. They're just having
we'll
too
keep
much
that
fun.
Keep that part a secret.
That's right.
Yeah.
Way too much fun. Well, I got to be part of the event at the link, and they had a jump rope, and they even kind of got me jumping a little bit, so that was fun to actually participate. But the kids had a blast, and they had so much fun, so I really enjoyed it, and I think that's a great honor for Boys and Girls Club to have that gifted to them and get those kids active with some things they don't even realize it's active. They're just having fun.
And we're very thankful.
Great. Anything else going on with Boys and Girls Club that we should
We got
know
a
about?
couple events coming up. I know we're part of Operation Bugle Boy, where we sing with St. Martin's as the veterans are coming in, so the kids are excited about that. We got practices coming up for that. That's the closest. Well, I'll take that back. We also have a Harvest Fest coming up. We'll be participating at the Governor's Mansion with a bubble station as well as bead and face painting. So we're excited about those couple events coming up.
Great. Well, we're glad to hear that, and I know there's council representatives that are also active in Boys and Girls Club, and we appreciate you being here, and please pass on our thanks to Stephanie Johnson and all she does for everything. And why don't we get a quick picture if you want to come up here, and what we'll do is share those activities that you just mentioned.
Okay.
We'll tag it, and you can share that so we can share it with the community.
Yes.
That actually was fun jumping rope. I haven't jumped rope since 1982, but I could still do it barely. All right, next we have, oh, and I forgot to mention too, at everybody's seat, we have a healthy bar of nuts and seeds that United Healthcare also passed out healthy snacks. So they passed those out at the event for the kids to snack on. And the cookies at your place are for Councilman Rick Mihalovich's birthday, which is today. Oh, I just said Mihalovich, and I'm looking at the other Rick. It's the other Rick. Rick and Rick, the two Ricks. Rick Prather's birthday. So happy birthday, Rick Prather, Councilman Prather, and we hope you have a good birthday. So celebrate with the cookies and then enjoy your healthy snack after that. So happy birthday. Item B, we have a CVB recognition, and we do have some members of the CVB here. So I would just ask that everybody from the CVB come forward this evening. And we want to recognize the CVB for several things. First of all, they have been very instrumental in every event we've had. Most recently, the Eclipse. We couldn't have done it without the CVB. So if everybody from the CVB would want to come on up, and also Mr. Chris Wilson, we have several CVB members here. So come on forward here. And we want to take this opportunity. We have some board members, and maybe we'll have each of you introduce yourselves here. Y'all do a lot. We don't always get an opportunity to recognize you. So we can start with Diane, and if everybody wants to introduce themselves into the microphone, that'd be
Sure.
great.
Diane Gillespie, and I'm Director of the Convention Visitors Bureau.
Chris Wilson, Convention Visitors Bureau, Sports and Film Sales.
Jordan Rolls, Office Coordinator for the CVB.
Brittany Mormon, I'm the Communications Manager.
Marianne Thies, I'm the Sales Manager.
Sheila Sanford, I'm the Tour Coordinator at the prison.
Chris Lyko, Athletic Events Committee.
Steve Duncan, Athletic Events Committee.
Glenda Fry, Athletic Events Committee.
Tina Warner, Athletic Events Committee.
John Allwell, Athletic Events Committee.
Colleen Taylor, CVB Board.
Great. Well, we appreciate the work of the CVB, the staff, and all of the volunteers and all you do to make our community better. Tourism is a very important part of our community, and you all touch on every aspect of that. Like I said, most recently with one of the biggest tourism things we've ever seen with the Eclipse, the amount of work and time that the CVB put into that was amazing. With all the events that you host, every visitor that comes to our community every day, you assist them in finding lodging and getting to see all the wonderful attractions of our capital city. So sincerely appreciate all of your work. Also with the prison, I know that project has grown exponentially, and that is due to the agreement between the CVB and the state, and could not do it without you and your effort. And what we really want to recognize tonight is Chris Wilson, and we appreciate your service, and we understand that you will be heading to St. Charles. Is that right?
That's correct.
And we want to take a moment as a council to formally thank you for all of your years. In fact, you've been here how many years?
6 years.
6 years. So yeah, come on forward. And
I just want to apologize, I'm way underdressed. Ryan knows open gym basketball on Monday nights. We do some of our best networking down there, so I apologize for being underdressed. But yeah, apparently not.
You
thank
work
you.
your
Very humbled, and thank you for the honor. Appreciate
You
it.
work it. You're always doing sports or something, even on your off time. So you're totally dressed fine because that's what you do every day. And I know when it comes to things like state track and all those events, whenever I've had a role in it, you have been right there. Every event that we've ever had a role in, and you make sure that we get where we need to go, and that you're very gracious and very easy to work with. And it's not just us; it's everybody that you work with on these events. So sincerely thank you. So you have how much longer here?
I start next Monday, St. Charles. Yep. So this
What
will
are
be
some
my
of your
final week.
favorite memories of Jefferson City and your job?
Put me on the spot.
Your favorite events or something? Put you on the spot.
The thing that has really stood out to me is the support of the community and the teamwork that the community has shown. And I know we've got several athletic events committee members here that I want to recognize, the CVB staff, the city, you mayor, and the city council. I've seen you guys out at several tourism events, sports tourism events, and then been involved with several official city welcomes too. So I appreciate that very much. Nothing comes to mind right now, but just I've always appreciated kind of that team mentality that the city of Jefferson has exuded over the years. So thank you guys for your support very much. Appreciate
You're a
it.
great example of that, and you also serve on the Parks and Rec Board, and you hold a position on numerous groups within the city, and everybody knows you. I mean, everybody. I've seen you at everybody knows Chris Wilson, and we think of you with the CVB. So I know you've enjoyed your time here. Wish you sincerely the best wishes in your new venture.
Appreciate that. It's my hometown. My family's here, and I'll always be around. So thank you.
Well, please come back as often as you can.
I'll do that.
And we'd like to take a picture, and I also want to give you a note and a city coin for all the work you've done for Jefferson City. So if the entire team of CVB would like to come forward, and then we'll get a picture of you up here.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
You guys see, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, yes. And we do have some councilmen that would like to make a couple comments, Chris, before I say go play basketball. So Councilman Schreiber would like to say a few words.
Chris,
Chris, we still have a few words here.
It's halftime.
Halftime.
Chris, I just want to say that personally it's been a real pleasure to work with you. And you've always been very accommodating. You've been extremely pleasant every time on the various activities we've worked on. You're an asset to this community. You've been an asset to yourself, to your family. I've known your dad for 55 years. He's standing back there in the back. And you will be an asset to the city of St. Charles, and we're really going to miss you. So this is home, and don't forget us. But thank you personally for everything that you've done for us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Any other council comments? All right. Thank you. Thank you all. Item C, we're adding a miscellaneous agenda item, and he has signed up to speak later, but we'll go ahead and invite Mr. Bill Lubert, who would like to speak with council about over the weekend we had Oktoberfest in Old Munichburg. So welcome, and first let us wish you a happy 50th anniversary to you and Verna. You're welcome.
What a way to spend the 50th anniversary. It was Saturday.
The whole town partied for you.
Right. Well, I represent the Old Munichburg Association. They were looking for a president and looked at me and said, hey, how about it? And so here I am. But anyway, I came to say thank you to the city and to all the components of the city for all their assistance in our activity over last weekend. It is our one and only fundraiser, and of course the funds that we raise go back into Old Munichburg, into that particular section of the city, and so it's sort of like holding hands, but nevertheless I wanted to say thank you. Mayor Turgeon was there twice. She tapped the keg and then came back for opened the Dachshund Derby. That was very good. Councilman Laura Ward stepped up and chaired the kids corner part of our event, so that we appreciate that. Parks and Rec is just unbelievable, the amount of equipment and time and effort that they brought in, so a great big thank you to them. Convention and Visitors Bureau was there big time. Even Diane was there with her blue jeans on one afternoon helping put up a tent, so I thought that was really remarkable. The police and the street department, of course, were there. And even though the Cole County Emergency Management is not a part of the city, they were still there and helped out. So anyway, thanks to all.
Well, thank you, Bill. I know you were very involved in that, and it was a lot of fun. It was such a perfect day for that. What a great weekend for Oktoberfest.
The weather was perfect. If anybody asked me what I had to do, I was going to tell them I was in charge of the weather, but
Definitely claim that, because that was fantastic. So,
it was.
And Councilwoman Ward, I think, worked it all day. I came and bought some hot dogs and snacks from you, and that was a really great day.
Well, and you thanked, Bill, everyone that did help, but we'd also like to extend a big thanks to you. You know, you not only stepped up to the plate to be the president of the association, but you took on a monumental task of a first time arranging this festival, and it was a wonderful day, but everybody that worked it went smoothly from what I could tell. I did have to call our director of Parks and Recs early Saturday morning, and he was more than willing to help out with what I was needing. So
Sure.
I'd just like to also thank the city and thank all of our volunteers that helped.
absolutely. After being involved in this 8 months now or so, I still have not mastered spelling dachshund, but maybe that'll come.
Well, that was fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming
Thank
here.
you.
And I know Councilman Kemna was there also at the Dachshund Derby. Pardon me? And Ryan was there with your little one dressed in what do they call that? Lederhosen. That were like this big. It was really cute. So, and I don't know if I missed anyone else who might have stopped by there, but it was a great event. So thank you, Mr. Lubert, for being here. Thanks. All right, item 5, public hearings. We don't have any. Item 6, there are no appointments by the mayor. Item 7, presentations from staff consultants and invited guests. We don't have any this evening. Item 8, announcements by mayor, council, and staff. I'll start with my announcements. And first of all, they can check out our calendar of complete list of committees at jeffersoncitymo.gov on our calendar. A few things that I wanted to just announce. I'll start with an update on MSP redevelopment, and that is moving along really well. Of course, as everybody knows, we had the bill move through the House and the Senate. Very thankful for that. And then Governor Greitens signed the bill in July at the prison. So now we're getting ready to kind of move forward on the next steps and what that will be. So just wanted to share with council that things are moving forward. We're working very well with OA, and they are working on the MOU and the details of what that land conveyance will be. And it's just a normal land conveyance. It's normal that it takes some time, can take up to a few months to have the completed document, but absolutely we're working with them every step of the way, and they've been very receptive and very great to work with. And you know, Ryan and I have had a great working relationship, and I think also it goes back to the example of having the CVB here, because they've had many years of successful tours starting in 2009. And that is also an agreement between the CVB and OA. So we have a good track record with OA, so we'll keep everybody posted on the progress on that. And then the next steps will be getting a group together of our partners in this venture that would start meeting and discussing what the next steps would look like. And that would include the city, county, state, CVB, and chamber. So those are really the same partners that have been with us since we moved the bill forward, and we'll continue working with that group. And we'll also have some council members as part of that group as well. And so we can keep the council posted on our actions, and then selecting a developer to implement the master plan, and that will be our guide, and looking forward to getting that implemented. So we will start that work here very soon and kind of figure out what the next steps will be, and then work with council every step of the way. And then ultimately this group would make a final recommendation to the full council to make the final selection. So it'll come back to the city, and very excited to see that progress happening. So just wanted to keep everybody informed about that. Also, a couple other announcements. We did have Lincoln Homecoming. Was that last weekend or the weekend before? Weekend before. So, and that was a perfect day for that too. We had another great weekend, 2 great weekends in a row. So enjoyed being part of that. And also, if you haven't taken a class at the Link, they are offering free classes this week. They're going to offer it 3 times this year where people can actually try out some classes. So go to their website or at their Facebook page. I will be participating. I haven't decided what yet. So if anybody wants to come with me, just message me and let me know. I'm open to whatever classes council members might want to do. So actually, I will say I ran into Tracy Ferrier at Old Munichburg Oktoberfest. So after everybody might have overindulged at Oktoberfest, she said what a great way to kind of get back in shape and go to the link and try out a free class. And I'll say I've been to the link for meetings, and I've been there for events and several formal events and different things that have happened, but I've never taken an athletic class there. So we're going to change that and I'm going to make that happen. So I hope everybody, and that includes staff as well, would be interested in checking out the link for a class. Also, there is a community meeting that I wanted to announce. Bishop James Howard is hosting a community meeting for discussion with myself and the school superintendent, and I'm not sure exactly what other partners will be there in the community, but that is Tuesday, October 10th at 6:30 p.m. at One in Christ Baptist Church, 900 Jefferson Street, and again, that's hosted by Bishop James Howard. So those are my announcements, and does council have any other? Councilman Schreiber.
Yes, this last week we did have the employee recognition with which Mr. Kroll and Ms. Strope were actually chaired that, and it was a very good time over at McClung Park, and we honored a lot of employees for their service, including one for 35 years and several 20-year employees, and it was always that's always a good event. Shows what great employees we have throughout all the departments of the city. Very enjoyable. Councilman Fitzwater was also present, and so we both enjoyed that event very much.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that, and all of our employees and their years of service. Any other announcements? Councilwoman Wiseman.
Thank you. I just wanted to note that we have the Administration Committee meeting this Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. It'll be here and across the hall.
Great. Any other announcements? And Councilman Henry, have you modeled yet, or is that coming up? I know you're keeping quiet over there.
That actually already took place this past weekend. So,
oh, it happened already.
Yeah,
okay.
It was for Mid-Missouri Fashion Week, and it was actually for 2 pretty good causes. Research for heart disease, and then also cancer research. So that's why that was my primary reason for volunteering to do that. Both great causes. So I was really happy to do that, and then also it was definitely a different new world because I was actually around real models and I had no clue as to what I was doing. So, but I got a little tutelage from some of the other models though. So I enjoyed it.
You're holding out on your modeling experience here, but thanks for doing that and representing. We appreciate that. Any other announcements? Okay. Item 9, presentations from the gallery on specific bills. I don't think we have any now signed up for that. So item 10, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 11, bills introduced, 2017-73.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by appropriating additional funds within the sales tax F fund.
Mr. Molman?
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. This bill supplementary appropriates $500,000 out of sales tax F to pay for municipal court renovations to the city annex building, which also is known as the fire administration and former parks headquarters. This money will be used to renovate the annex building for municipal court purposes. The city retained Architects Alliance to perform Phase 1 preliminary feasibility studies. The result of those studies are attached to this bill in your packets. Generally what they came up with was project costs between the low 300s to mid 400s, about 425. The wide range in those cost estimates primarily have to do with options relating to dealing with the HVAC system in that building. Essentially, that the HVAC system over there is starting to get in at the end of its useful life, and so the mechanical engineers took a look at that and said it may not be a bad idea to go ahead and replace the system and design it in a manner that would best suit that building and its particular uses, and also address some heating and cooling issues that are currently experienced between the upper floor and the bottom floor. Sometimes when one area gets comfortable, the other one can get uncomfortable. And so the cost variance included in the Architects Alliance estimates are widely due to to those differences on the different approaches. This appropriation at $500,000 contemplates taking the mechanical engineer's recommendation to replace the system, the HVAC system, and essentially do away with the equipment that is at its useful life and start with a new, more efficient system that meets newer codes. In addition to the construction costs that are included within there would also be additional amounts for further architectural services to draw the design documents and prepare for construction documents, blueprints, and then also an amount for furniture, fixtures, and equipment known as FF&E. So that funding amount, $500,000, is anticipated to cover all costs for the municipal court renovation, building costs, professional services, and then FF&E to equip the building once building is complete. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to address them. Mr. Gamfer from the Architects Alliance is not here tonight, but specifically said if there's questions that come up tonight that I'm not able to address, he will be here at the next meeting for second reading.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Molman? Councilman Prather?
My understanding that the security staffing is not included in that $500,000. Is that something that we have figured out how much it's going to be cost and where that money is going to be coming from?
So currently, security staffing is dealt with out of the municipal court's operating budget, and we do not anticipate any change in the security staffing. Whatever security staffing we have over here for municipal court would just go over there with the court operations, so it's built in to the municipal court's budget. I don't think there would be any additional staffing for security purposes that would have to be included. I think we're set.
Any other questions? Councilman Graham?
So I'm looking at the floor plan. So there's no other offices that's going to try to move over there later on from here or anything like that, is it?
No, the top floor is wholly occupied by municipal court services. Essentially, what we have is back of the house type administration uses on the north end of the building for daily court staff use and for public ingress and egress to just pay tickets and address situations on a daily basis. The municipal court takes up a large portion of the top floor, and then there's additional offices for a city prosecutor and a municipal judge. That's really the only functions that we see over there. Now, of course, this is a large space that would be available for meetings. So if there are additional functions that the city sees appropriate to have in that type of large space, there's no reason that we couldn't utilize it for those purposes. So any type of training, education, emergency management was brought up as perhaps a possibility because of current limitations of the police classroom. This space would be available for those types of uses, but as for a permanent basis, only municipal court would occupy this space.
Right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Councilman Fitzwater?
I know this ordinance relates to the municipal court. In the document you sent out, you talked a little bit about a phase 2 or maybe an add-on talking about council chambers and the board. Could you expand on that just a little bit of what we might be looking at?
Sure thing. So This bill funds at kind of like the maximum expected level of expenditures, and that's without looking at bids as they come in. Of course, when bids come in, we hope we bid in a competitive environment where we can get some competitive bids from several different contractors, and hopefully those construction costs will come in under budget more than we think it could cost. And so what that would leave us with is an excess of funds that aren't going to be used for municipal court purposes. So you can do essentially one or two things: return that back into the general fund, or you can keep it separate and use it for other like projects. And one like project that staff believes may be addressed through a contract for interior renovations is additional improvements to the council chambers and also the large conference room, and really probably just minor things, carpet, paint, seating, and that's only if that can be done in a more economical manner than going out on a separate bid. What we want to do with this project is be good stewards of the sales tax F money and use it in the most efficient and economical way. And so we did want to bring up that possibility of this and the large conference rooms are both spaces that are in need of some addressing. And so if there's funding available still at the end of the project, this may be an appropriate avenue to use that funding as opposed to just turn it back over into the fund balance. That would kind of just something to decide after bids come in, and if it makes sense to do so at the time.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. 2017-74.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Article 11, Paid Holidays of the Personnel Policy Manual to include floating holidays.
Right. And we also have a substitute. So should we, do you want to have Gail make why don't you give us a summary first?
Okay.
Thank you. So this ordinance codifies the rules for how floating holiday or paid time off hours will be administered. As you will recall, additional time off was recommended during the classification and compensation plan study that was completed by Austin Peters Group. Therefore, this time was contemplated and approved during the FY 2018 budget process. This benefit will increase time off for employees while minimizing costs to the city. Specifically, any unused time will not be paid out upon separation from employment, and all time must be requested and approved in advance so as to minimize overtime costs, loss of efficiency, and departmental disruptions, while still offering as much flexibility to the employees as possible. Hours given to employees are as equivalently provided as possible based on a percentage of the number of hours they work in a given year. There's little or no expected fiscal impact, and any cost will be absorbed in the council adopted budget. Staff appreciates very much council's support of this benefit, and staff also recommends approval. The substitute that was provided simply, it doesn't change any of the terms of the ordinance. It simply changes the title of the time off from floating holiday pay to paid time off, just as another option. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Any council questions?
Yeah.
Councilman Prather?
Will there be any change to the monetary amount as far as what's going to affect our budget? It was presented to us during the budget that there would be no cost. I just wanted to see what your take was on
Correct.
that.
There is the way that the ordinance is written, there would be no additional cost. Any expenses that would occur would be absorbed in the current budget.
I think what we said was minimal cost. I don't know that
Yes.
there may be, some overtime or something at some point, but it's minimal cost as we discussed during the budget time.
You may have occasional step-up pay in the fire department and things like that. It would be very minimal.
Councilman Graham?
Thank you so much. Certainly, I do like this. I just have one major concern as it relates to, I see that, for example, police do 10-hour shifts, so they would get a 10-hour day off. A part-time employee who 4 hours off, and someone who works just a regular 8 hours would get 8 hours off. However, it looks like when it comes to the fire department is, even though they work 24 hours, they're only getting 12 hours off. And to me, that is not equitable how we're looking at this. So I'm hoping that I can work with Councilman Holovic and whoever else on this, but right now, I would not be in support of that until we can come up with how we can do something better for fire, because if they come in and they work 24-hour shift and they only allow 12 hours off, and if they still want to take a day off, they still got to burn their time for their sick leave or personal leave or whatever it may be, whereas other departments are getting the full 10, 8, and 4. So I just want to make sure that it's equitable across the board. And like I said, but I do like this idea. It's just the fact of how do we get it to where that fire is receiving the same as all other departments. That's my biggest concern.
Councilman Henry?
And just to kind of piggyback off of that, Gail, how was that calculated, by the way?
It was looked at, it's calculated basically the same way we do our vacation leave and our sick leave, and we looked at it to try to get it as equivalently across the board as possible, so that it's a somewhat equivalent percentage of time off over the course of a year. So we looked at not shifts necessarily, but more hours in a year, and tried to get a fairly equal number of hours off, percentage-wise, based on the number of hours they work. You have to keep in mind that firefighters work 2,958 hours in a year. Other like 40-hour employees work 2,080. So you can't go the same exact number of hours and have an equivalent amount of time off percentage-wise. So we just tried to get an equivalent percentage. So it does, in order to do that, it doesn't have, a full shift for the fire department. If you went equivalent, you'd go a full shift for fire, and then you'd have more than a full shift for some of the other departments. So that's just the way that we do it, to try to be, like I said, as equivalent across the board as possible. It can be done many different ways, so.
Mrs. Strope, what would be the best way to have that discussion, or, to try to figure out what that number ought to be? And I don't know if Chief Schofield would have input, or would it be something that you and Chief would talk about along with the council input?
We can. There's even an admin meeting Wednesday morning if some of the council members want to talk about it. It's really kind of up to council's prerogative.
So is it on the agenda for admin?
It is not. I just kind of threw that out, so Aaron's probably thinking, oh no. But.
Or Mr. Kroll, do you have any suggestions?
Like I said, maybe, since Councilman Holovic is a sponsor and he's not here, I would love to sit down with him, since he's a sponsor of this bill, and see if we can come up with some ideas with city staff to work it out. And then,
sure.
If it needs to go to a committee, then that's fine too. But like I said, I'm just looking forward to working with Councilman Mahalovic in regards to this, since he's the sponsor of the bill.
Okay, so then we'll plan for you and Councilman Mahalovich to talk when he gets back, and then maybe you and Gail and Chief and Steve, the three of you can have a discussion with and work out some of those details. Okay, any other questions? All right, 2017-75.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a supplemental agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for surface transportation program funds.
Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a second supplemental agreement to an existing grant contract that we have with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission. It was initially executed early 2016. And basically it was for roughly $300,000, of which we have been using for staff time, the JeffTran system-wide assessment. We have one professional services contract that we're working on getting in the process of executing. At budget time, we rolled most of the funds for that into the 2018 fiscal year budget, thinking we might actually be drawing down some of it in 2017. And until we knew that amount, we did not proceed a supplemental agreement, which basically all the agreement does is extend the contract from the end of our fiscal year 2017 to 2018. So the $30,000 mentioned in the memo would simply roll over into the 2018 budget, and along with the other funds and the professional services contract, so we can move forward with that activity. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions? Thank you. 2017-76.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the 2017-2018 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by adding employees within the Public Works Street Division personnel schedule for a new crew to work on stormwater projects.
Mr. Marash?
Thank you. And this bill would add, like Clerk indicated, a 3-person crew at the street division and mainly work on stormwater projects and improve our customer service in that regard. Kind of came out of this did come out of the council's appropriation of the $750,000 recently to work on stormwater. So we looked at that funding, came up with a couple different scenarios and presented those to the Public Works and Planning Committee. Those are also in your packet, scenario A and B. And what we found was, after looking at that, we recommended hire a crew with a portion of that money. Approximately, we're saying $250,000, and that would include the staff time and then additional materials they would spend. So the actual staff time to hire would be just around $150,000. This would allow us to mainly focus on maintenance issues, which are deteriorated pipes, sinkholes, those kind of things, and then also allow us to improve the collection system around some of the flooded areas. And in the scenario we indicated, Sioux Drive is one we'd like to work on, Inglenook and Timber Trail. We believe we can accomplish these projects with a new crew, and hopefully we've under-promised there and can do a little bit more. But the scenarios were discussed at our Public Works and Planning Committee meeting, and they elected to forward this to the full council. Happy to answer any questions.
Councilman Henry?
Thanks, Matt. And Matt, in your opinion, just between the two scenarios, this one is clearly the most effective way to maximize those dollars.
Right, and what we did in the scenarios, we can pull them up if you want to look at them, but A and B is felt like we could get about an equivalent of additional $1 million worth of work with the first scenario. And the main reason for that, we decided in our memo to the committee, was when we do internal projects, very little administration, in-house administration or engineering. We can develop one plan sheet, give it to the crew, and they go out and do it. Where we bid it out in a traditional way, it's a significant amount of work just on the engineering side of things. Also, we already own the equipment that these folks would use, so we're not anticipating adding any equipment, just better utilizing it. So if you were to bid that out, so of course there's contractor overhead and those kind of things that would come into it as well. And then of course they do charge you for your equipment. So we just better utilize our own equipment. And that's probably one of the main factors that we could do more with this money. Now, of course, there's another scenario. If you want to spend it all traditional design, bid, build, we basically you add another project to the list in the scenario.
Councilman Prather?
In our Public Works meeting, I was impressed to hear the amount that can be done just by having 3 more staff. I think that's pretty incredible that we can knock it down that much. But I do want to caution that this is a one-time income, $750,000 or $250,000 for that year, for an potentially ongoing expense. And we don't know what the economy is going to do. Right now, we're under projections on our sales, and also we have a potential for not getting about $250,000 of income after this next year, due to the possibility that we may not receive income on vehicles that are purchased out of state. So I just want to caution that we may have to make some tough decisions if we do go this direction. We may have to cut back somewhere else with ongoing, but I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of what tough decisions we may have ahead of us if we go this direction.
Councilman Henry?
Well, and we've made tough decisions before. For years we've been doing that. This is what we're charged to do, and this is what we're here to do. So with all due respect, this needs to get done.
Any other questions? All right. Item 12, bills pending, 2017-70.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri vacating and discontinuing a stormwater easement over a portion of property addressed as 3719 Greystone Drive in the City of Jefferson, Missouri.
Mr. Marash?
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this would vacate a no longer needed or used stormwater easement off Greystone Drive. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Kemna.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2017-71.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a $206,563 agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for Metropolitan Transportation Planning Services for the period of November 1, 2017 to October 31, 2018, reflecting Consolidated Planning Grant CPG funds as approved in the fiscal year 2018 Unified Planning Work Program.
Mr. Sanders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is our standard yearly grant agreement from the Missouri Highway Transportation Commission to support our Metropolitan Planning Organization, CAMPO. It basically funds staff time. The money for the grant and the local match is currently in the approved budget. The 20% match, it's an 80-20 grant. The 20% match is shared with Cole County. City of Jefferson pays 75% of that 20%, and that's roughly $38,730, and Cole County pays the remainder, which is about $12,900. And all the work is identified in the CAMPO Unified Planning Work Program that's available on our website, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Hussey?
I should know the answer to this, but how did we ever arrive at the 75-25 split, just out of curiosity with the county? Do you know?
Yes.
I know it's in the MOU, but I don't remember how we got there.
It goes back when the MPO was formed. It was decided to share the local match among the member communities, and over the course of time, that morphed into just two communities willing to share, and that's Jefferson City and Cole County. At one time, Callaway County also participated, but that is how that came about. I don't know if it was based on population at the time that actually lived inside of the urban area. I believe it was some sort of formula like that.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Kemna.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Bill passes. 2017-72.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri amending the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by supplementally appropriating funds for legal fees for the Missouri American Water tariff case before the Missouri Public Service Commission.
Mr. Molman?
Thank you. This bill is a supplemental appropriation for $20,000 out of the general fund to pay for legal fees related to the city's participation in the Missouri American Water tariff case currently being heard by the Missouri Public Service Commission. The city has retained Mark Comley of Newman, Comley, and Ruth to represent the city's interests in this matter. And excuse me, we believe this funding amount should be sufficient to cover the costs related to such representation.
Thank you. Any questions? Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Kemna.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Abstain.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Bill passes. Item 13, nothing on the informal calendar. Item 14, resolutions, RS 2017-11.
A resolution authorizing the approval of successor directors to the Capitol Mall Community Improvement District.
Mr. Molman?
Thank you again. This resolution appoints successor members to the Capitol Mall SID Board of Directors. You would note that Finance Director Margie Miller is named as a owner representative and city representative to the Capitol Mall SID. Ms. Miller would replace Mr. Fitzwater as the city representative to this board. due to Mr. Fitzwater having to resign upon being elected to the City Council. Appointments to the Capitol Mall CID are consistent and required by the Missouri SID Act.
Thank you. Any council questions? Deliberation? Do we have a motion to?
So moved. To approve it.
All right. And any further discussion? Mrs. Powell, roll call, please.
Hussey.
Aye.
Kemna.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Item 15, we have no presentations signed up. Item 16, council and staff discussion. I will mention, I forgot to say that there is Ride the Bus Day, which is Discover Jeff Tran on Monday, October 9th. So this coming Monday on Columbus Day, if you haven't had a chance to ride the bus, you can ride for free that day. And it is Discover Jeff Tran, and that's also online and on Facebook. And we have a flyer about Project Homeless Connect. I'm not sure if that came from Mr. Sanders from your department.
Yeah, I believe it came from our department. We were just distributing those. We were going to talk about it on the 20th, but it's something we've been doing the past few years. It's an opportunity for people that are homeless to come in and get services, get registered, help with the driver's license, medical attention, and things like that. The flyer kind of explains it all. They're going to be offering a free lunch for folks, and it's just a good event to help persons that do not have housing inside our community, and I just want to share that with everybody.
Great. So that'll be October 20th, 9 to 2, and they're calling it this time Project Home Connect. So
Yeah,
they're changing that. Thank you. Any, item 17, any new business? Item 18, any unfinished business? Item 19, approval of closed session minutes. Is there a motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Fitzwater.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Kemna.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schreiber. Ward.
Aye.
Wiseman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 20, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. Everyone have a great evening. Aye, aye, aye.